to go in. That is the... Everybody in the world touched the pad and it should be used. So I've got the, let's take a little... Morning crew and welcome to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now this is episode 5 and it's going to be the last one, to be perfectly honest. I reckon I've milked this for all it's worth. And really, you guys asked me to do this test, this second test, didn't you? So it's probably, what is it now, 3 days since I did the last video, which was prepping our test pieces. So we actually used, for those that haven't seen the previous videos, we first of all did a shear test comparison, load test between 2 different brands of glue. One brand is very cheap, Selleys Araldite epoxy, and the other is probably the other end of the scale, quite expensive. This is about $80 a tube, and this one is about $15 a tube. However, with this one, you've got to buy an applicator as well, which is another 120 bucks. So to use this, all up $200. To use this, $15. This is more of an industrial application. So you can see there, look, that's that one. Plus, there's about twice as much volume of glue in this this tube. So 3M, expensive. Araldite, cheap, both epoxy glues. And the first test we did was a shear test, and I've even still got the plates. And I'm back, don't panic, I didn't go far. And going from memory, the Araldite, which was on these 2 pieces of steel, and the shear test was basically, we did that with a load, and the Araldite withstood, I think, about 283, 4, 7, can't quite remember, watch the video, kilograms before it, the 2 plates separated and the glue failed. And to give you an idea, there's 10.5 centimeters squared contact patch of glue. So the manufacturer claims 75 kg or up to 75 kgs force can be withstood using the Araldite per centimeter squared. So in theory it should have withstood just a little bit over 750 kgs under perfect conditions. It actually managed 280, about a third of the stated or the claim. The 3M product doesn't claim anything. They don't say what their product will withstand or not withstand, and there's no stipulation as to what type of force, whether it's a torsional, tensile force or a shear force or any other kind of force, to be honest. Now the 3M product, this one here, same plates, that withstood about 180 kgs of force applied to it before the 2 plates separated. And you, the viewers, said, "Hey Andy, great test, really enjoyed watching that, quite an insight to see the cheaper glue greatly outperform the expensive glue. But we think you should have done a test on tensile, which is to pull 2 plates apart, as opposed to a shear test where they slide across each other." So in the last video, video 4, which was a direct response of your requests, I came up with a cunning plan, and that was to use some intake valves as the medium, I suppose, to perform the test. So we chucked the valves in the lathe, we faced them off so they're dead flat, and then we applied I actually welded some nuts to each end so I can attach the chains, and then we glue them together. And this one is the Araldite, and this one is the 3M, and they've had about 3 days to cure. Now it says in the instructions for both the glues that they're up to full strength after 24 hours, so there is no doubt that after 3 days these should be ready to go. Now you've seen the rig. I purchased, it's been quite a mission this one. We actually purchased some crane scales so we can accurately measure the load being applied to the test piece, so to speak. And the rig that we used was an engine hoist, which can lift up to a ton, so I can apply up to 1,000 kgs with that. Pulling up on the top of the test piece, and the bottom was connected to the truck. And between the engine hoist and this, we also had the crane scale. So we could very accurately increase the load. It was pretty cool actually the way it all worked, and I'm going to replicate that again for this test. So I'll go outside in a minute and I'll set everything up, and I've brought the GoPro along as well so we can GoPro film the screen on the actual scales, and I'll try and get the GoPro a bit closer this time because I couldn't work out how to edit, how to cut down the screen on PowerDirector 14. So anybody got any ideas, flick me an email or send me a link onto a YouTube video somewhere so I can work out how to do that, because that was a bit of a pain. So I'll try and get the GoPro a bit closer to the screen so the display is a bit easy for you to see. When these things fail, it's usually pretty violent, so I've got to remember to cable tie things together to give them sort of a safety, otherwise they go everywhere. Okay, well, I reckon this is going to be pretty exciting. I really don't know which glue is going to win. If Araldite wins, I think 3M have got a real problem, to be honest. Sure, somebody made a comment, sorry, forget names. Somebody made a comment that the 3M product produces a more constant bonding. Okay, you know what you're getting. Whereas maybe, transpose that to the Araldite, and maybe sometimes it works really well and sometimes it works pretty crap. We don't know. And I haven't produced 50 of these test pieces to test each one and take an average. That's not what I've done. I don't have time for that, but I do have time this morning on a gorgeous Sunday morning here in New Zealand to test these. I'm really eager to see what the result is. So without further ado, I'll get outside and get the rig put together. See you shortly. Okay, the rig's all set up. Now before we go outside to do the test, there's one more thing that we have to do. We need to do a calculation to find out what the contact surface area is between these two valves, the heads of the valve. Now, when they were in the lathe, we measured them at 36.94 millimeters diameter. So we've got that measurement already. We need to do a quick calculation to work out the surface area. And then, it's hopefully going to be a like-for-like test. Ooh, we do lots of calculations these days, don't we? Right, okay, so the diameter is 36.94 millimeters. Okay, now to work out the area of a circle is pi r squared. Now we'll use pi as 3.14 just to make things easy, and the radius, half of that, is 18.47, and to get radius squared is times itself, so 18.47, and that's going to give us 3.14, and we need to do 18.47, so 18.47 times 18.47 equals 341.14. Okay, so times 3.14 equals 1071.18 millimeters squared. Now that is the same as 10.71 centimeters squared. So we're a very small amount larger on the surface area, the contact patch for these two glues, than we were in the first test, the shear test. So bear that in mind. In theory, we should be able to withstand, hopefully, slightly more than the previous test, the shear test. Who knows, maybe, but the contact patch is slightly larger. Only a fraction though. So it's almost equivalent, isn't it? And that's pure luck. I didn't plan that. So we'll wait and see. Okay, right. Outside, let's do the first test. And we'll do the Araldite. The Araldite one is on the rig. And then we'll do the 3M one second. Okay, just to show you the rig close up, we've got the GoPro, which has now gone to sleep. We've got the crane scale, which I've managed to connect directly to the hoist this time, so it's not going to go flying anywhere. And that then goes down to the Araldite test piece via a shackle, chain, and onto the truck. Now, this truck has about 1.4 tons on the front axle. I know that because I've done a brake test on it on the running road. So there's no way that this engine hoist should be able to lift it off the ground. And it also gives us a really good anchor point to use for the test. Okay, let's do this. Let's turn on the crane scale. There we go, looks just doing a test, battery test. There we go. Brilliant. So Araldite, 280 to beat. Okay, so we're up to 40 kgs. Easy. I'm so nervous, I know what's going to happen in a minute. This is going to test my welding as well, don't forget. Welding better be stronger than the glue. Jeez. Okay, 92 kgs. 105. That's about the weight we got in the water container on video 2. $120. Standing back a bit now. 130. 144. 159. 172. It's creeping up to 180. Wow. Oh no. The valve broke. What the hell? Jeez. Right. Back in the workshop, we need to look at this. Shit. Really wasn't expecting the end of the valve to break just after the weld. Basically, there's been some kind of chemical change happen to the metal in that valve to make it really brittle, because it's broken right along the edge of the weld. Gutted. After all this, I reckon there might be an episode 6. I might need to find something else that I can use. I thought valves would be perfect for the job, but clearly not. Obviously the weak point in the link. Please, it wasn't my welding that broke, but it was the fact that I'd welded the valve that caused the problem. Well, we've got nothing to lose. We've still got the 3M product. Now, obviously this isn't a glue test, but let's just see if the same fracture occurs on one of these valves, whether it's the bottom one or the top one, we don't know yet. Right, back to the rig. Oh, jeez. Gutted. Anyway, not to worry. Just means another video, doesn't it? Right, okay, so top. Got to lower the hoist. Yeah, that should be enough. Okay. Okay, right. Taking up the slack. Okay. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, okay, 100 kgs, 110, 120, 130, 140, okay, 150 kilograms, 160, so we're getting close to the failure of the weld on the last one, 170, 180, 190, right, 200 kgs applied now on that test piece, 205, 215, 220, 225, 230, about 235, holy shit, and damn, same problem again, huh. At least we're consistent. Wow, I really didn't see that coming at all. Yes, I know that the weakest point around a weld is the edge of the weld, but to break something like that, to cause it just to fracture, to make the metal so brittle, jeez. And exactly the same problem with the second test piece. So realistically, this had nothing to do with testing glue strength, did it? And what I can't, I mean, sure, you know, I could get a piece of mild steel and weld it along the length, but it's still going to fracture, I reckon, further down. Plus the heat transfer is going to affect the bonding of that glue. Both manufacturers have told us that if the glue gets over 60 degrees C, it can drastically weaken its abilities. I have noticed again that with the 3M product, it's still quite tacky. It's still, you can still, you know, put your thumbnail into it. It'll bounce back, but it's much softer than the Araldite glue. The Araldite is really hard, and it's there's no way you can put a mark in it. It doesn't deform even with a thumbnail on it, or a screwdriver for that matter. Okay, so disappointment all round, unfortunately, my fault. I need to come up with a new plan which doesn't involve welding, or at least welding to something that's, you know, a very specific steel that they use for the valves, very hard steel. I think we need to go back to basics. Yeah, but damn, didn't they look cool? I thought it was a good idea. Right, well, some you win, some you lose. As long as you win most of them, it's all that matters. So there's going to be an episode 6. It won't be today. I'll have a think. If you've got any ideas, send them through. You've got my email address. It's on the profile of the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel, so you can send me emails if you like, of ideas of how you would do this test. What material? Obviously it needs to be steel to check the bonding. That's how I want to do it, because it was steel was the original application for this glue, so it needs to be steel. But yeah, come up with some idea. Not too elaborate, please, because there's not that much money in the pot. Alright crew, well, if you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe to the channel? Click on subscribe. You'll see a little gear icon turn up. Click on the gear icon, and then you can tick the box to turn on notifications. You can also, if you're on a smart device, just click on the bell symbol, and that will also do the same job. And our friends down at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. And there will be as number 6. I want to get to the bottom of this and find out just how much load these two glues can cope with. And I also want to know whether the Araldite really is that much better than the 3M. Because you'd expect the 3M to be so much better than the Araldite, wouldn't you? Given the cost difference. Okay, you'll also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Google+, and Twitter. Feel free to communicate through any of those portals. But don't forget, comments on YouTube, please, first. That's where the videos are. And that's the easiest place for us to communicate. But if you want to private message me, feel free. Not a problem. You'll find me through Facebook on that. Okay, crew. Well, until next time, have a good new year. Or I doubt this video will be live by tonight, so who knows. Hope you had a good New Year's. All right, chaps. Cheers. Over and out.